My biological father snatched my SS rank class in public, forced me to choose an E rank short-lived Ghost Tamer, and even kicked me into a certain death dungeon to pay off a debt. Everyone was waiting to see how Changqing's #1 genius would die on the very first day. But they didn't know that a voice rang out in my head. 100 Ghost Knight Parade System successfully bound. E rank? No, but the one and only supreme class across all heavens, the Ghost Lord. My name is Changqing. Just a little over 10 minutes after transmigrating to Blue Star, I was standing at Qingshu High School's awakening ceremony. My stepmother Guanning was comforting my half-brother Li Haoyu. My father Liang frowned. Changqing, you're the older brother, you go first. A flood of memories exploded in my mind. Monsters had descended, dungeons and secret realms had appeared out of nowhere, and class holders had arisen accordingly. Once you turn 18, you can participate in the awakening ceremony. I walked onto the arena and reached out to touch the awakening steel. Buzz, a blue pillar of light shot out. C rank. Before I could react, a golden pillar of light shot straight into the sky right after it. The whole venue fell deathly silent for a moment, then erupted. Gold represented SS rank. The number of people in the entire country who awaken an SS rank class each year does not exceed 100. My heart pounded wildly. I did it. But before I could be happy, my younger brother Li Haoyu roared with reddened eyes, "No, you can't touch it." I ignored him and reached out for that golden card. My fingertips were less than 5 centimeters from the card when my body suddenly lost control. I looked up in disbelief at Liang. He stood in front of me, his expression icy. "Changqing, you are the eldest son. It is only right that you give way to your younger brother." I gritted my teeth. Why? Haven't I given up enough already? Liang said expressionlessly, "He is your younger brother. For your brother's future, there is no room for you not to yield." Guanning rushed over, hugged Li Haoyu, and cried at me. "He's your younger brother. How could you be so cruel?" I hadn't done anything at all, but everyone was just watching the show. Gritting my teeth, veins bulging on my neck, I desperately tried to get closer to that golden card. Liang gave a slight shake of his head. Buzz. A sharp pain stabbed through my brain, my vision went black, and blood trickled from the corner of my mouth. Only 1 centimeter remained between me and the golden card, yet it felt like an entirely family stood between us. Haoyu is to marry into the Su family. If he changes class to an SS rank class, the Li family will gain the upper hand. For your brother's future, for the Li family's future, you cannot touch the SS rank class. I laughed out loud. The class I awakened, and I can't touch it? What kind of logic is that? Liang spoke coldly. Yours? Without my Li family, how would you have what you have today? The fact that you could awaken an SS rank class is also because of the Li family bloodline and the Li family's resources. The surrounding students whispered among themselves. How pathetic. Even his own father won't help him. Who told him he was born to a maid? I heard his biological mother died when he was 3. Serves him right. Now that the former genius has fallen, who wouldn't want to step on him? Guanning suddenly knelt down before me. Her knees slammed heavily onto the ground. Tears streamed down her face, her hair disheveled. "Changqing, just think of it as your mother begging you. How you can't do without this class. He's always had excellent grades since childhood and trained hard. Only an SS rank class is worthy of his efforts. Once Haoyu grows stronger, he will definitely take care of you and support you." A chill spread through my heart. This woman really knew how to use moral coercion to kill. Liang helped Guanning up, his face even colder. "He is my son. Whatever I tell him to do, he has to do it. How could there be any reason for you to kneel to him? Today, whether you agree or not, you will agree." A tremendous force struck me, and my whole body flew backward, dropping hard onto the ground. I coughed up blood. "Even if you kill me today, I still won't agree. At worst, nobody gets this class." Liang sneered. "Under normal circumstances, without the owner's consent, a class card really can't be taken away." My expression changed. "But blood is thicker than water. You and Haoyu share the same bloodline. Haoyu can be considered half the awakener of this card too." I burst out laughing completely. "What a fine blood is thicker than water. Liang, and you still have the nerve to say that? What did you just call me?" Liang flew into a rage. "Haoyu, hurry and inherit the power of the profession." Li Haoyu stood up, passed by my side, and gave me a disdainful, mocking sneer. He reached out, and golden light poured down. The SS grade profession, Screeching War Rider, was bestowed upon him. My C grade profession card was also taken by him. Liang said nothing and left directly with them, not even sparing me a glance. I sat on the ground, my nails digging into my palms, blood streaming down. "Transmigration, where's my system? Get the hell out here." Ding. Detected that the host has developed intense resentment. Activation conditions for the system have been met. The 100 Ghosts Night Parade system is binding with your soul. Current resentment, 500. Beginner gift pack. Reward resentment times 1000. I shot to my feet and walked toward the last dusty E-grade profession card on the arena stage. Everyone thought I had gone mad. An E-grade Ghost Tamer? A short-lived wretch. Trash that won't even live to the second-class advancement. I ignored them and reached out to touch it. Gray mist covered my entire body. Ding. Awaken profession, Ghost Tamer, E. But in the next second, my profession panel began to undergo earth-shaking changes. Ghost Sovereign, LV0, rank, unknown/unique across all heavens, HP, 1000, mana, 1000. Strength, 10, Spirit, 100, primary. Agility, 10, Endurance, 10, Skills, Sovereign Body, SSS. Resentment Parasitism, SSS. 100 Ghosts Night Parade, unknown. Equipment, 08s, Resentment. 1500 LV0, Spirit 100. One had to know that even the world's top SSS grade professions only have 10 points in their primary attribute at LV0. 100 points in a primary attribute was equivalent to the level of an ordinary profession user at LV10. Only LV0 could enter the beginner dungeon, and equipment could not be worn. The higher the base attributes, the higher the starting point. At this moment, my fingers were trembling with excitement. I looked at the skills. Sovereign Body, LV1. SSS passive while ghost servants are alive. All damage borne by the Ghost Sovereign is reduced by 90%. Resentment Parasitism, LV1. SSS active consumes the Ghost Sovereign exclusive substance, Resentment, to evolve Ghost-type summoned beasts. 100 Ghosts Night Parade, LV1. Unknown the Yellow Springs clear the way. 100 Ghosts Parade at night. Gods and ghosts move in defiance. Buddhas and Taoists tremble in fear. Within the coverage of 100 Ghosts Night Parade, all attributes of all ghost beings are increased by 10%. All attributes of non-ghost beings are reduced by 10%. Current ghosts: Ghost King 0/1, Ghost General 0/1, Ghost Constable 0/1, Een Soldier 0/3, 2 SSS grade skills, and 1 unknown skill that even the system could not rate. Sovereign Body was for self-preservation, reducing damage by 90%. Resentment Parasitism was for evolving ghosts. 100 Ghosts Night Parade was the core domain. Once the domain was opened, ghost beings were enhanced and enemies were weakened. What I needed most right now was a ghost-summoned beast. Just as I walked out of the school gates, a group of people in uniform gear surrounded me. Isn't this the great genius of Qingxu High School? The leader was named Zhang Yunfei, a cadre of the Black Eagle Adventure Guild. He pulled out a contract. A while ago, when you were preparing to challenge the beginner dungeon, you signed a loan contract with the Black Eagle Guild. You haven't forgotten, have you? I remembered. The original owner couldn't get any resources from the Li family and could only sign a loan with the guild, 850,000. Captain Zhang, if I remember correctly, the repayment date is after the second year of university. Zhang Yunfei sneered. If you were still the genius you used to be, this little money would be nothing. But now, he deliberately raised his voice, attracting passing students to watch. Your SS-grade profession was stolen. You awakened an E-grade short-lived ghost profession, and you've even lost your guaranteed admission spot to the 4 major martial academies. How could my Black Eagle Guild dare continue signing contracts with you? If you can't pay back the money, then pay with your life. He grabbed my collar in one motion. My gaze turned icy. Let go. After 1 second of eye contact, it was as if some evil spirit had pricked him, and he suddenly let go, then cursed under his breath. A ghost tamer really is creepy. Several guild members came up, pinned me down, and shoved me into the car. Take me to the exchange first. I spoke calmly. You don't have a choice. The car started and headed for the border. Zhang Yunfei turned around, his eyes full of mockery. A new dungeon has appeared at the border recently, Damp Cavern. And it's just missing a tough warrior like you to go in and scout the way. My heart sank to the bottom. They're trying to kill me. Your goal isn't to kill me, but to get information. I probed. If I go in like this, how is it any different from a suicide mission? Zhang Yunfei laughed. You don't seriously think you can bring any information back, do you? Might as well tell you. Damp Cavern has an entry-level cap of LV5. Before you, 2 well-equipped LV5 teams went in, and they all died. Sending you in is only to delay the existence time of the new dungeon. Before a new dungeon is cleared, if there are no living people inside, the teleport vortex could dissipate at any time. So they needed a living cannon fodder. I stared at him, delaying it for 10 minutes and getting killed by monsters in less than a second after going in. Captain Zhang should find that choice easy, right? Zhang Yunfei looked at me in surprise. Faced with a hopeless situation, a high school student could still stay this calm. He instructed the driver, go to the exchange. I had less than $1,000 on me. On the waiter's recommendation, I spent $800 to buy a copy of Earthbound Spirit Summon E-Rank Active, a Ghost Tamer skill book, cheap as waste paper. Zhang Yunfei personally kept an eye on me, giving me no chance to escape. The car stopped at the border. In front of us, a black spatial vortex about 50 meters tall rotated slowly, emitting ominous black mist. Go on in, our great genius of Qingxu High School. Take your earthbound spirit in with you too. He kicked me in the back. Staggering, I fell into the vortex. In my ears was the unrestrained laughter of Zhang Yunfei and his men. Everything went black before my eyes. Class user is entering damp cavern, LV0, LV5. I crashed heavily onto the cold, rocky ground. I lifted my head. Dim light seeped in from some unknown place, outlining the contours of the oppressive underground space. The air was filled with a nauseating, earthy stench. Gusts of sinister wind blew over me, raising goosebumps all over my body. I quickly took out that skill book and reached out to touch it. Light flashed. Earthbound Spirit Summon, E-Rank Active Current Evolution, requires resentment times 100. Without hesitation, I said, Evolve. Wandering Soul Summon, A-Rank Active Current Evolution, requires resentment times 500, 1 evolution, and it jumped straight from E-Rank to A-Rank? I suppressed my wild joy. Continue evolving. Wild Ghost Summon, S-Rank Active Current Evolution requires resentment times 1000 S-Rank. With a thought, a black mist formation appeared at my feet. A soul condensed into a solid form. About 2 meters tall, slender in build, covered all over by a gray robe, with no face beneath the hood. Only a flickering purple ghostly flame. The surrounding air instantly turned several degrees colder. I opened the Wild Ghost panel. Wild Ghost. Level. LV0. Increases with the Ghost Sovereign's level. HP. For 1000/4000. MP. 2700/2700. Strength. 40. Spirit. 240. Agility. 120. Endurance. 40. Skills. Resentment Entanglement. Ghost Fire. Ghost Soul. I smiled. My panic at entering an unknown dungeon vanished completely at this moment. A LV0 Wild Ghost had stats comparable to a magic class profession at level 30 or 40. With just this one summoned beast, I dare to turn against Zhang Yunfei on the spot. Throwing an S-rank boss-level summoned beast into a LV5 dungeon. How is that any different from a nuclear weapon? I raised my head and looked into the depths of the dungeon. Zhang Yunfei, you let me come in here to die. But you never expected that. Instead, you handed me an enormous opportunity. At the moment, there is only one ghost summon. The wild ghost naturally became the Ghost King. When the suffix king appeared after its name, the wild ghost clearly made no sound at all. Clang! A shrill screech rang out as the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped to freezing. An imposing aura spread out without any sign of anger. Vengeful spirits coiled around it, and ghostly energy shot into the sky. After quite a while, the wild ghost barely suppressed its ferocious aura. Changqing glanced at the attribute panel. The wild ghost's already heaven-defying attributes doubled once again. Its HP reached 8,000, and its spirit attribute rose to 480. A bona fide boss-level combat force. Right now, 100 Ghosts Night Parade is only LV1. Once it improves further later on, the Ghost King's value will only become even greater. This skill alone is already far beyond anything an SSS tier class can compare to. Changqing nodded in satisfaction. Let's go. It's time to clear out this newbie village. He stepped forward and headed deeper along the cave tunnel. The wild ghost floated in midair, silently following behind him. Before long, they encountered the first monster in the damp cavern. A goblin about half a meter tall. It looked even frilier than in the pictures and books, but its eyes were even fiercer. Goblins are synonymous with low-tier monsters, but no novice class user would dare underestimate this kind of creature. Brutal, greedy, bloodthirsty, cunning. Seeing one means there must be several more hiding in the shadows, ready to jump out at a critical moment and deliver a fatal blow. Kill it, Changqing ordered. The next second, boom, purple ghost fire ignited on the goblin's body, and before it could even let out a scream, it was burned to ashes along with its soul. Minus 984 killed a rare monster above your level. Cavern Goblin. EXP plus 25% resentment plus 10 instant kill. An unquestionable instant kill. As the Wild Ghost's basic attack skill, Ghost Fire has a damage multiplier as high as 200%, yet its cooldown is only a short 3 seconds. Hiss hiss roar. From all directions, 3 more identical goblins suddenly rushed out, letting out sharp roars. The Wild Ghost has 3 skills. Resentment Entanglement focuses on control. Ghost Fire is mainly for damage output. Ghost Form is responsible for self-preservation, granting immunity to 40% physical damage. Facing the 3 charging goblins, countless gray-black, resentful energies extended from the Wild Ghost, tightly binding one of them so it could not move. Boom. Purple Ghost Fire appeared without warning, and one goblin turned to ashes. Minus 2049, weak point attack, killed a rare monster above your level. Cavern Goblin. EXP plus 25%. Resentment plus 10 at Li Changqing's instruction. The Wild Ghost silently retreated into the distance. The last goblin charged straight at Li Changqing and swung down the spiked wolf-tooth hammer in its hand. Li Changqing neither dodged nor avoided it. The moment the spiked hammer landed on him, a wisp of black energy spread out. Minus 9, it did not hurt in the slightest. Li Changqing looked down from above at the goblin and used the appraisal skill that came with his Awaken class. Cavern Goblin. Rare. Level. LV3 HP. 350/350 mana. 80th strength. 28 spirit. 12 agility. 21 stamina. 17 skills. Heavy Hammer LV4. Bite LV2. War Drum LV1. Li Changqing was slightly surprised. No wonder the Black Eagle Guild was unable to clear this dungeon in a short time. Monster ranks are divided into common, rare, mutated, leader, lord. For ordinary class users, they can usually only deal with common monsters of the same level on their own, while rare monsters require a party to handle together. Mutated monsters are often the boss-level unit of a dungeon. This is only the first batch of monsters encountered. If an ordinary LV5 party of professionals came in, even if they could kill them, they would still have to pay a certain price. If they continue onward, there will be more and more monsters, and the final boss might even skip the mutated tier and reach the chief tier. With the Black Eagle Guild strength, no matter how many teams they send in, it would just be sending them to their deaths. By Li Changqing's estimation, they would at least have to wait a while, until the professionals from his cohort had cleared their newbie dungeons and generally reached LV5. Only a team of high-tier professionals, equipped with excellent gear, would have even the slightest chance of clearing this dungeon. Li Changqing stopped thinking about it and ordered again. Kill them. Ghostfire blazed. Even if Ghostfire was on cooldown, a single normal attack dealing over 500 damage was enough to instantly kill a cave goblin. Killed a rare monster above your level. Cave Goblin. EXP plus 25% resentment plus 10 killed a rare monster above your level. Cave Goblin. EXP plus 25% resentment plus 10 ding. Professional level increased. Gained free attribute points times 2020. Li Changqing remained calm. An SSS tier profession can only possibly gain 10 free attribute points when leveling up. Yet the Ghost Lord can gain as many as 20 free attributes upon leveling. This should have been something worth getting excited about. But the Ghost Lord profession gave far too much, and he had gradually grown used to it. Stepping over the 4 goblin corpses, Li Changqing gave them a quick glance, saw there was no loot, and continued deeper into the cave. What followed was less a dungeon raid and more a one-sided mowing game. Wherever the Wild Ghost passed, nothing was left growing. Cave goblins, goblin captains, goblin shamans, not a single monster could withstand one shot of the Wild Ghost's ghost fire. Solo grinding above his level, his EXP shot upward like a rocket. Ding. Professional level increased. Gained free attribute points times 20 in just 20 minutes. With most of that time spent traveling, Li Changqing had already reached an astonishing LV4. The Wild Ghost's level was also increasing, and its spirit attribute rose sharply. Toward the end, even goblin captains couldn't withstand a single basic attack from the Wild Ghost. After allocating all 80 free attribute points to spirit, Li Changqing looked at the resentment value. The Awakening system had given 500 points. The newbie gift pack gave another 1,000 points. Upgrading the Earthbound Spirit to a Wild Ghost cost 600 points. By now, he had killed 37 monsters. His resentment had once again surpassed 1,000, reaching 1270 points. Thrive in calamity, perish in comfort. Wild Ghost, you're still not strong enough. Keep evolving for me. As his voice fell, a wailing spirit screeched, and immense resentment wrapped around the wild ghost. The gray robe began to swell. The ghost fire within the hood gradually dissipated, replaced by a ferocious monkey face. Wild ghost summon. S-rank active. Mountain imp summon. SS rank active. Current evolution requires resentment times 3000. Li Changqing was just about to check the mountain imp's attributes. From ahead came a burst of intense weapon clashes and human shouting. Hold the line. Hold it for me. This beast doesn't have much HP left. Where are the ranged attacks? Give me suppressing fire now? Out of mana. What are mana potions for then? At a time like this, don't you dare try to save them. Damn it. Why is this mutated monster so fierce? Isn't it only LV3? Li Changqing's expression changed slightly. There were people. A well-equipped 5-person party of professionals was fighting a burly, muscle-bound goblin general. The main tank's HP was hanging by a thread. The healer was panic-stricken and had lost all composure, unable to heal. They were being chased into a frantic rout, and a total party wipe was imminent. Didn't Zhang Yunfei say there was no one in the dungeon? Judging by the ages of these class holders, they should all be newly class-changed rookies. Their equipment loadouts are excellent, and they occasionally use some high-level skills. Li Changqing's thoughts returned to the present. They were most likely the children of major families who had just changed class, especially coming to pioneer the newbie dungeon. It's just that Zhang Yunfei wasn't qualified to know. They sure are bold. They probably came over right after clearing the newbie dungeon. But that had nothing to do with him. A mutated monster, which would be a boss-level monster in other dungeons, and his first time encountering one, he absolutely could not miss it. A sinister wind howled as the mountain imp stepped out in a single stride, its gray robe flapping loudly beneath the roars of vengeful spirits. The goblin general, caught up in the thrill of the chase, the moment it saw the sky filled with vengeful spirits. Its huge body froze instantly in place, not even daring to move an inch. When 100 ghosts roam at night, all living beings scatter. Even if there was only one ghost king, it was still a great terror that a creature like it could never withstand. It stopped moving. The main tank captain realized the killing intent behind him had vanished. Turning around, his shock turned to wild joy. Quick! While it's now attack, can't you even hit a stationary target? Everyone came back to their senses, and countless skills blasted onto the goblin general. The long HP bar above its head gradually dropped. Li Changqing said nothing, merely calculating the HP precisely and ordering the mountain imp to use an attack skill. Imperial Edict, stones become soldiers. Countless massive rocks appeared out of thin air and crashed down onto the goblin general one after another. Bang, bang, bang. Minus 1048, minus 984, minus 1874, weak point attack. Killed a rare monster above your level, goblin general. EXP plus 55%. Resentment plus 50. As the third boulder fell, it struck the monster squarely on the head, bursting it open like a watermelon, flesh and blood exploding everywhere. The boulders were still continuously falling, smashing the monster's body into a pulp. The 5 of them stared wide-eyed at the scene before them, their minds completely blank. An instant kill? What is that thing? A new monster? The mutated monster that had pushed them to the brink earlier was just like that. Instantly killed by one move? What is going on with this falling rock? Just then, a sharp-eyed hunter in the team spotted Li Changqing behind the falling rocks. His eyes widened even more as he cried out in shock. You're Li Changqing from Qingshu High School. Who? The main tank captain also noticed the human behind them, his expression turning grave, not daring to be the slightest bit careless. The key was that monster casting the skill. The muscles that the gray robe couldn't conceal, the hunched figure, and the blue-red monkey-like face it revealed. That's it. It one-shot the mutated monster with a single skill. You might not recognize the name Li Changqing, but at Qingshu High School, he's the student whose own younger brother stole his SS grade class card. I heard he ultimately awakened an E grade class, Ghost Tamer. Ghost Tamer? You're saying this is his summon? An E grade class? How is that possible? Are you kidding? An E grade class one-shotting a mutated monster? The squad erupted into commotion. The 2 girls in the back huddled together, glancing at Li Changqing from time to time and whispering among themselves. Sister Xining, is he really Li Changqing? Yes. Su Xining nodded blankly. She still hadn't recovered from what had just happened. To be precise, she couldn't believe that the one responsible for one-shotting the mutated monster would be Li Changqing. How could it be him? Someone who had chased after her for 3 years just because of a marriage arrangement? A discarded son of the Li family who awakened an E-grade class? How could he possibly one-shot a mutated monster? Does he still like you and deliberately follow you here? The girl beside her looked full of gossip. I don't know. Su Xining looked toward Li Changqing, only to discover that he hadn't looked at her even once up to now. At this moment, the three class holders in front stopped arguing. The goblin general's corpse slowly disappeared, and a treasure chest emitting a silver glow sat there quietly. A loot treasure chest. Only monsters of mutated rank or above have a chance to drop one. At worst, it could still yield silver equipment or an item of C grade or above. Their eyes were bloodshot, completely unable to look away, wishing they could claim it for themselves. Li Changqing, right? The team leader stepped forward. You may not know me, so let me introduce myself. I'm Wang Ruixin, from the Wang family. We've been fighting this goblin general for quite a while. We found this boss first. In the final analysis, you came here to steal our kill. Now that you've already taken the monster's experience, the loot chest should rightfully belong to us. Wang Ruixin was no idiot. No matter what, the other party had the ability to kill the goblin general. As he spoke, he gripped a talisman scroll tightly in his hand. Escape scroll, a high-level alchemical product. When the children of great families enter a dungeon, they all carry one on them, allowing them to teleport out of the dungeon in a critical moment. The price was exorbitant, and purchasing it required authorization. Steal your kill? Li Changqing let out a light laugh. You were about to be slaughtered by the monster, and you still dare covet the loot? Isn't that so? The hunter in the team said coldly. The goblin general only had a sliver of health left. You stole the last hit. Brother Wang is easy to talk to and isn't going to argue with you over it. But don't tell me you still want the loot? To bluff others, you first have to bluff yourself. A discarded son of the family who awakened an E-grade class. Could he really one-shot a mutated monster? They had been fighting this monster for so long, so its HP must have already been down to the very last bit, which was why this guy could jump out and snatch the leftovers. Li Changqing couldn't be bothered with this bunch of idiots. The Wang family, he had some impression of them. The four great families of Jiang City, Li, Wang, Su, and Bai. The Wang family was one of them. Birds of a feather flocked together. The others were probably family science too. Talking big with their mouths was one thing, but if they really dared to reach out, he wouldn't mind chopping their hands off. Li Changqing bent down and picked up the chest in front of everyone. You. Su Xiaowan hurriedly stopped her three teammates. Don't be anxious. Li Changqing wants the loot chest only for Sister Xining, right? When the time comes, Sister Xining will definitely share it equally with us. Sister Xining? Su Xining? Hearing a familiar name, Li Changqing looked up. At the back of the team, a girl in a white mage robe was staring at him without moving. Her black hair fell to her waist, and her face was fair. Against the backdrop of her dark hair, it almost seemed to glow. She was stunningly beautiful. Even the female celebrities from his previous life couldn't compare. The robe couldn't conceal her impressive figure, and her legs were wrapped in white boots. From a distance, it looked almost like white stockings, accentuating the lines of her legs. Noticing Li Changqing's unrestrained gaze, Su Xining frowned slightly. Our engagement has already been cancelled, so stop pestering me. She had never been interested in Li Changqing. The Li family, in the end, was only a family in Jiang City, completely incomparable to the great houses of the main city. The man for her, Su Xining, could only be a true favored son of heaven. Right, you're now my dear younger brother's fiancé. Li Changqing had not the slightest good impression of this woman. According to his memories, the original owner couldn't feel any family affection in the Li family, so he poured his whole heart into his future wife. Love at first sight, doing everything he could, even giving her his heart and soul. And what was the result? I'm just a bit slow to warm up. Accepting your kindness doesn't mean agreeing to be with you. I didn't want to date in high school, and the engagement was just feudal nonsense from the older generation. Wasn't this exactly that sort of entitled fairy girl? Unexpectedly, when Su Xining heard Li Changqing say she was Li Haoyu's fiancé, her face instantly turned livid. Shut up. I won't enter a marriage alliance with Li Haoyu, nor will I enter one with anyone. She had heard some of the Li family's inside story from her elders. Compared with Li Changqing, she despised Li Haoyu's unscrupulous methods even more. He even stole his own elder brother's class. A true favored son of heaven. Talent, family background, and character. None can be lacking. Yes, you're right. Li Changqing walked straight past these people. In his world, some people are destined to be passers-by, not even qualified to make him spare them an extra glance. The mountain imp followed beside him, with terrifying, vengeful spirits flickering in and out of view. How could these low-tier professionals withstand such icy, baleful energy? Their bodies involuntarily took 2 steps back, completely not daring to block Li Changqing's path. Are we just letting it go like this? That was a treasure chest dropped by a mutated monster. No way. We absolutely can't let this loser get an easy advantage. Just as Wang Ruixin was about to chase after him, Su Xiaowan stopped him and said with a grin, "If you were students of Yucai High School, you'd know just how much that Li Changqing likes our sister Xining. Don't worry, he's just trying to save face. Once there's no one around, he'll definitely deliver the treasure chest into Sister Xining's hands. I won't take his things." Su Xining looked away. She didn't know if it was just her imagination. She kept feeling that Li Changqing just now was somewhat perfunctory. The old Li Changqing would never have spoken to her in that tone. "Won't take it?" Wang Ruixin was furious. "That was our stuff, so why should we give it to him?" Su Xiaowan also tried to persuade her. "Sister Xining, I know you don't want to accept his kindness. An E-rank profession isn't worthy of you. But that loot chest is something our team risked our lives to clear for. Taking it back is just returning it to its rightful owner." "Exactly. He's just a kill stealer. After taking the experience, he still wants to take the treasure chest too?" Su Xining did not reply. She agreed with what Xiaowan said earlier. Li Changqing would give the treasure chest to her. For the past 3 years, whenever there was something good, Li Changqing would give it to her, and this time would be no exception. But to say the treasure chest was their loot? If not for Li Changqing, they would all have been driven out of the instance by the Goblin General. Forget the treasure chest, they would even have lost the escape scroll. Seeing that Su Xining said nothing, Wang Ruixin felt uneasy. "Come on, let's follow him. If he doesn't hand over the treasure chest before leaving the instance, then don't blame me for ganging up on him." Li Changqing naturally noticed the tail behind him, but he couldn't be bothered to care. He moved forward all the way, unobstructed. That Goblin General just now was probably something like a mini-boss. After it, there were no more small monsters, leading straight to the boss area. Very soon, a dazzling light suddenly appeared in the dim grotto corridor. At the end of the corridor, there was a large hole in the ground, and the light source was coming from below. Li Changqing stepped over in one stride and looked down below. An underground cavern, brightly lit by candlelight. In the center was a huge rock, with a rusty iron sword stuck in it, surrounded by countless white bones piled into small hills. Whoosh! Li Changqing landed in the pile of bones, and the bones scattered downward. Great skill breeds great courage. The monarch body is immune to 90% of damage. In a LV5 instance, could there really be anything capable of instantly killing him? If something abnormal is found, no need to observe, just crush straight through. An iron sword stuck in the stone? A treasure? A trap? Take it first and talk later. Li Changqing reached out toward the sword hilt. At that moment, buzz buzz buzz. The ground shook violently. No, it was the bones shaking. Li Changqing took a step back. The next second, all the bones rose into the air and gathered into a humanoid figure, which reached out, grabbed the hilt, and with a clang pulled it free. Oh, quite an imposing entrance, huh? Cave Bone Demon, Boss, Level, LV7 HP, 8200/8200 MP, 2400/2400 Strength, 142 Spirit, 75 Agility, 83 Stamina, 120 Skills. War Stomp LV4, Reforge Bones LV1. The Cave Bone Demon sensed the intruder's aura. Its glowing red eyes locked fixedly onto the mountain imp. The mouth formed from fused white bones split open, letting out a spine-chilling roar. Roar, roar, roar. Li Changqing withdrew his gaze. Looks impressive, but useless in practice. Even a boss-tier monster is only this much. Kill it. Shan Xiao pushed both hands forward, and an irresistible, terrifying suction drew the vengeful spirits wrapped around him into his palms. Edict turned mountains and rocks into soldiers. The vengeful spirits let out shrill wails. As each vengeful spirit dissipated, it transformed into a massive boulder falling from the sky. Boom. The cave bone fiend swung its sword in a heavy slash, shattering one of the boulders. Roar, roar, roar. A roar as if it were shouting defiantly. The next second, the second boulder came crashing down. Boom. -875, the third one. -1694, weak point attack. Roar, roar, roar. The cave bone fiend let out a miserable wail. -623. -947 roar. A boulder completely blocked its mouth. Its entire body was buried beneath countless boulders. The cave bone fiend stretched a bony arm out from the gaps between the boulders, yearning for a sliver of survival. However, it was all in vain. Kill the boss monster above your level. Cave bone fiend. EXP plus 75%. Resentment plus 300 ding. Class level increased. Obtained free attribute points times 20. Boulders crashed down, shaking the earth and mountains. The entire damp cave was trembling faintly. Hurry, run. In the dark cave corridor, Wang Ruixin looked excited. That kid has run into the boss. How dare he steal our monster? I'll let him have a taste of the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Someone looked nervous. Even the gatekeeping boss was more than we could handle. Wouldn't the final boss be able to kill us easily? That said, his steps were no slower than the others. He was terrified of missing the crucial moment of Li Changqing fighting the boss. What's there to be afraid of? Wang Ruixin said disdainfully. Do you really think that trash could instantly kill the goblin general? Wasn't it only because we had already beaten it down to low health, and the situation was urgent at the time? So we didn't have time to check the monster's HP, and that let him steal the kill. Exactly. If we're not even afraid of a piece of trash, what are we afraid of? I'm more worried he'll overestimate himself and challenge the boss, get killed by the boss, and even let the treasure chest fall into the boss's hands. Damn, that piece of trash is going to ruin everything. Wang Ruixin's expression tightened, fury blazing as he cursed. If this kid lets the treasure chest get snatched away by the boss, even if he dies, I still won't let him off easy. He dared to snatch the treasure chest from Li Changqing, but he absolutely wouldn't dare provoke the final boss. The group hurried forward. Soon, they saw the light source in the gloom. By now the tremors had subsided, and the cave had fallen quiet again. Wang Ruixin raised his shield and carefully approached the cavern ahead. Looking down from the cave entrance, there was nothing left but scattered white bones all over the ground. Nothing else at all. Where is he? Wang Ruixin cried out in shock. The other team members hurried over and looked down at the surroundings in confusion. Look at the system notification, Su Xining said. The final boss of the damp cave, the cave bone fiend, has died. Please activate the teleport vortex within 30 minutes and leave the dungeon. Countdown, 28:53. What does that mean? Wang Ruixin looked up blankly. They had followed Li Changqing all the way here. As soon as they heard the commotion, they ran over at top speed. It hadn't been more than a minute since they reached this cave entrance. And the final boss was already dead? You've got to be kidding. Could there be another party of class users? The hunter class man asked with a frown. The damp cave can hold at most 20 people. Including Li Changqing, there are only 6 of us. The president of the Black Eagle Guild agreed to let us in, so he might have agreed to let another team in too. The more he thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. That kid Li Changqing probably saw the system notification and chose to leave the dungeon right away. So that old bastard Shi Yushan actually dared to set me up? Wang Ruixin's face instantly turned livid, and his eyes seemed ready to spit fire. Shi Yushan was the vice president of the Black Hawk Guild. He had put up a large sum of money and even made a promise in the Wang family's name. And only then was Shi Yushan willing to hand over the first clear rights to the damp cave. Now the final boss's treasure chest had been taken by another team. Even the Goblin General's treasure chest was in Li Changqing's hands. All that effort for nothing. How could he not be furious? Let's go. First get the treasure chest in Li Changqing's hands, then settle accounts with Shi Yushan. Meanwhile, outside the instance, at the foot of the vortex, Zhang Yunfei stood here waiting impatiently with several of his subordinates. Brother Fei, is there really a need to wait? That kid probably couldn't even survive the first wave of monsters and was eaten by the monsters long ago. Why should we waste time here? Zhang Yunfei curled his lips. You think I want to wait? It's just the rules from above. If alive, we see the person. If dead, we see the corpse. We can't miss even the slightest chance of getting information. Before he could finish, Zhang Yunfei's mouth fell slightly open as he stood there in a daze. The black teleportation vortex had, at some unknown point, turned a deep azure blue. A ripple spread across the center of the vortex. One tall and one short figure walked out of the vortex. The subordinate followed Zhang Yunfei's gaze. Li Changqing. Not only had he come out alive, he was completely uninjured, and even his clothes were spotless. Anyone unaware of the situation would think he had gone in for an outing. You. Zhang Yunfei rubbed his eyes. You kid actually didn't die? The instance changing from black to blue meant the instance had been cleared, and the damp cave had officially become a permanent instance. What did that mean? Could it be that this kid cleared the instance solo? The thought made Zhang Yunfei laugh. He quickly figured out the reason. Most likely, the guild higher-ups had sent another raid team without informing him in advance, and that team had killed the monsters in the instance, letting this kid luckily escape with his life. Zhang Yunfei regained his earlier composed mockery, strode up quickly, put one hand on Li Changqing's shoulder, and sneered. Hurry up and tell me all the information you saw in there. If the information is useful, I can consider helping you settle that debt. Heh. Li Changqing let out a light laugh and removed the hand from his shoulder. I have information. But why should I tell you? Huh. Zhang Yunfei didn't react for a moment and suspected he had misheard. Seeing that Li Changqing didn't look like he was joking, Zhang Yunfei seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He clutched his stomach and burst into exaggerated laughter. Ha ha ha. The lackeys behind him also roared with laughter, their eyes full of disdain as they looked at Li Changqing. Brother Fei, does this kid think we're joking with him? Could it be he got scared stupid in the instance and has started talking nonsense? I think so too. This kid couldn't possibly think that just because he made it out of the instance alive, he's something special, right? Zhang Yunfei seemed to have laughed enough. His face suddenly darkened, and his voice turned icy, full of menace. Kid, I'm not discussing this with you. I'll give you one last chance. Tell me every bit of information from in there, in full detail. Otherwise what? Li Changqing unexpectedly asked. Zhang Yunfei curled his lips and, right in front of Li Changqing, swept his gaze around the surroundings. Newly born instances usually appear in the wild outskirts. This is the Black Hawk Guild's territory. At least within a radius of 10 kilometers, there won't be anyone around. Nor are there any surveillance facilities. Otherwise what? A killing intent flashed in Zhang Yunfei's eyes. You probably wouldn't want to know. There's actually such a good thing. The smile on Li Changqing's face grew even broader. He had originally been thinking about how to quietly deal with these people. He had no ability to repay the money, so dragging him here to settle the debt was understandable. But what they absolutely should not have done was throw him into an instance with no chance of survival. They were trying to kill him. He would show no mercy to those who wanted to kill him. Shanxiao. At a single command, the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped to freezing. What's going on? Zhang Yunfei suddenly shivered and noticed the black-robed creature behind Li Changqing. A monkey face like an evil ghost's, mottled blue and red, with wronged souls entwined around its body. Black, ghostly aura covered the entire surrounding area. Boom. The pitch-black, ghostly aura exploded with a bang. Countless iron chains shot out from the ghostly aura. In 1 second, the iron chains passed through the bodies of all the lackeys present. Strangely, where the iron chains passed through flesh, it was as if they had passed through a phantom. There was no flesh torn open as imagined, nor did any blood flow out. A chill shot up his back straight to the top of his head, and Zhang Yunfei stared at Li Changqing in horror. From the moment he came out of the vortex until now, the other party had worn a faint smile on his face the whole time. Completely different from the panic he showed when they dragged him into the van earlier. What did you do to them? Li Changqing did not answer and walked toward Zhang Yunfei step by step. The next second, shrill screams rose one after another. Every lackey pierced by the iron chains looked as if they were experiencing some unimaginable nightmare. Their eyeballs bulged out, blood flowed from all 7 orifices, and the skin on their bodies peeled off as if dissolving. Blood sprayed out like a waterfall. Zhang Yunfei felt his scalp go numb and collapsed to the ground in terror. Prohibition Soul Detainment. Active ghost chain seize life. Targets hit by the ghost chains enter a 5-second soul loss state. After 5 seconds, an attribute, spirit, check is performed. When Shanxiao's spirit attribute is higher, the hit target loses 5% of maximum HP per second until they break free of the ghost chains. The control duration depends on both sides' spirit attributes. The screams finally died down completely. Only the squelching sound of rotting flesh falling to the ground remained. Their HP had been completely reduced to 0. The lackeys who were lively just now were now dead beyond doubt. A LV5 Shanxiao, with just 1 skill, instantly killed 5 professionals above LV20. Li Changqing saw that he had scared him enough. He sneered and said, "Why do you think I spared your life? You, don't come over." Zhang Yunfei sat on the ground, his mind completely blank from the scene before him. With every step Li Changqing took closer, he scrambled backward several steps on his hands and knees. At the same time, he frantically cursed the marketplace in his heart. Wasn't the one Li Changqing bought a earthbound spirit? How could such a huge marketplace sell fake goods? What the hell is this monster? Just then, ripples spread through the vortex behind them once again. Wang Ruixin and the others appeared at the foot of the vortex. As if seeing a life-saving straw, Zhang Yunfei scrambled over and clutched one of Li Changqing's legs. "Because you're worried that others will see you killing someone. Now that they've come out, you can't kill me. You can't kill me." Ugh, ugh. Continuous retching came from behind. Minced flesh all over the ground mixed with stark white bones. How could these children of great families have ever seen a scene like this? Even Su Xining's face turned pale, and she covered her mouth and retched. Li Changqing ignored them and kicked Zhang Yunfei away. At the same time, he ordered Shan Xiao to use another skill, Ghost Seed. It wasn't some evil or sinister skill. It merely left a mark on the target, thereby increasing the damage of ghost-type summoned creatures. But Zhang Yunfei didn't dare think of it that way at all. He only saw a purple light flash in that monster's eyes, followed by a sharp pain in his chest. The sharp pain quickly disappeared, but the area around his heart remained icy cold, as if something were gripping it in its hand. He instantly widened his eyes. "What did you do to me?" Li Changqing crouched down and spoke in a voice only Zhang Yunfei could hear clearly. "Nothing much, just adding a little something to your heart. Every 7 days, without its blood, you'll end up like your little underling, your flesh rotting away and dying." As he said this, Li Changqing also stepped aside so Zhang Yunfei could see the shaman behind him. Covered all over with terrifying ghostly aura, Zhang Yunfei inexplicably felt a chill in his heart, and the pain at his heart grew even stronger. Having become an officer of the Black Hawk Guild, Zhang Yunfei was naturally no fool. Clutching his chest, he gritted his teeth and said, "What do you want me to do? I have your contact info." Li Changqing stood up and looked down at Zhang Yunfei coldly. After a few seconds, seeing that the other side still hadn't moved, his tone suddenly turned cold. "Still not scramming?" Only then did Zhang Yunfei stagger to his feet and hurriedly flee the scene. Li Changqing turned back and looked at Wang Ruixin and the others. The icy look made Wang Ruixin tense up, and he took the initiative to ask, "These were done by you?" He pointed at those bloody severed limbs and mangled flesh, his voice trembling a little. "What are you thinking?" Li Changqing curled his lips into a teasing smile. "These are all members of the Black Hawk Guild, all above LV20. I'm just a newly class professional. How could I possibly kill them? Maybe it was that person just now?" Wang Ruixin thought that made sense too. Right after coming out of the instance, he saw such a jaw-dropping scene. His mind was a blank. He also had no extra attention to spare for Li Changqing. After calming the lingering fear in his heart, Wang Ruixin regained his lofty demeanor and said righteously, "Where's the treasure chest? Hand it over now, or don't blame me for being rude. You grabbed the loot and ran. Did you really think we couldn't find you?" The hunter in the team stepped forward and pointed at Li Changqing as he cursed. "You want to monopolize the experience and keep the treasure chest too, taking everything for yourself? Do you really think you're the young master of the Li family? Even Li Haoyu wouldn't dare act this arrogantly in front of our brother Wang." He was just certain that Li Changqing wouldn't dare offend the Wang family. So what if they robbed you? It wasn't the first time they'd done something like this. 3 people blocked the way, clearly meaning they wouldn't let him leave unless he handed over the treasure chest. Li Changqing sighed. These people were different from the professionals of the Black Hawk Guild. Children of wealthy families inevitably carried life-saving items on them. If he failed to kill them, the trouble afterward would be endless. But at this point, not making a move was impossible. The shaman stepped forward, and the atmosphere instantly became tense. Regardless of whether this summoned beast could instantly kill the goblin general, the ghostly aura coiling around it, and the mournful wails of vengeful spirits in the darkness. The bone-chilling cold made all of them a little wary. "Wait." Su Xiaowan quickly stepped in front of Wang Ruixin and the others. "Didn't you promise me we'd talk things through?" Wang Ruixin stared fixedly at the shaman and said through gritted teeth, "Leave the treasure chest, and you can go. I won't make a fuss about what happened today either. It's just a treasure chest, isn't it? Look how anxious you are," Li Changqing said with a smile. Walking to the shaman's side, he took out 2 treasure chests from the gray robe and tossed them in the air. The eyes of the few immediately widened. That was the goblin general and the final boss, the cave-bone demon. Li Changqing looked calm. So want them? Since he was going to make a move, he would stand on the moral high ground, robbing others of their loot in the wild. According to federal law, even if he killed these people, no one would dare say a word. The final boss's treasure chest? How is it in your hands? Wang Ruixin panted heavily, his eyes fixed fiercely on the 2 treasure chests, wishing he could claim them for himself. One loot chest wasn't enough to make the Wang family's core members show such a reaction. But a chest obtained through his own efforts was enough to prove his strength to the family and thus receive more resources. Wang Ruixin questioned him. "You're just an E-rank class, so how could you possibly kill the final boss? This is a freshman dungeon. They were being chased down and hacked at by the goblin general. How could Li Changqing, a ghost tamer, possibly kill the final boss by himself?" He didn't believe it and didn't dare believe it either. Did he use some high-grade one-time use scroll? Or did he discover some secret to soloing the boss? At that thought, a burning light erupted in Wang Ruixin's eyes. Class users can enter a dungeon once per day. If he could obtain the secret to soloing a boss, the long-term gains. In that case, no matter what, he had to get his hands on that secret today. Greed flickered in Wang Ruixin's eyes as he shot a look at his other two teammates. The hunter and the other warrior immediately understood what Wang Ruixin meant and moved to surround Li Changqing. Wang Ruixin, Su Xiaowan shouted loudly. She kept feeling that something was off. The secret to soloing a boss did indeed exist. For some special bosses, if you know their backstory and bring out the corresponding item, you can clear them without taking damage. But the odds were too small, and this was a freshman dungeon at that. Even the Black Eagle Guild couldn't possibly know the background story. So how did Li Changqing know? She was more inclined to believe that Li Changqing was holding a high-grade one-time use scroll. But what if he still had more? She didn't dare gamble her life on it. Besides, what difference was there between the treasure chests in Li Changqing's hands and Su Xining's? In the end, wouldn't they still be theirs? Sister Xining, say something already. Su Xiaowan was practically frantic. If they made a move against Li Changqing now, the best possible outcome would just be getting the two treasure chests. But if they handed him over to Su Xining, maybe even the high-grade scrolls would become theirs. Su Xining had remained silent the whole time, her gaze shifting as she looked at Li Changqing. She felt that Li Changqing had changed, but she couldn't say exactly how. And moreover, what bothered her most was, from beginning to end, he hadn't looked at her even once. If this were before, as long as she was around, Li Changqing's eyes would only ever fall on her, with no room for anyone else at all. Hearing Su Xiaowan call her name, Su Xining snapped back to her senses. Wang Ruixin, let me talk to him. Talk about what? Don't act like the treasure chests are yours alone. Wang Ruixin glared right back at her. Su Xining was indeed beautiful, and she had awakened an S-rank class. Calling her a favored daughter of heaven would not be an exaggeration. But so what? Wasn't she still that Li Haoyu guy's fiancée? What did she have to do with him? If I can't get the treasure chests, how about I pay to buy one for you? Su Xining's expression turned somewhat ugly. Li Changqing would never speak to her in that tone. Do I look like I care about the treasure chests? Hey, if you're going to make a move, then do it. Li Changqing cut in impatiently. I don't have time to waste here with you people. You. Wang Ruixin immediately moved to charge forward with his shield raised. Su Xiaowan quickly stopped him. Li Changqing looked calm and composed, acting as if he had something to rely on, which made her even more convinced that this guy definitely still had one-time use items. It was true that they had life-saving items, but they were expensive, and after using one, their families would most likely not give them a second. There was absolutely no need to let things escalate to this point. Su Xining was also somewhat displeased by Li Changqing's tone. She frowned and shouted coldly, Li Changqing, is this how you speak to me? She looked at Li Changqing, her fair chin slightly raised. She wore an arrogant expression, as if saying that if he didn't apologize right now, she would never forgive him again. Li Changqing was so exasperated he laughed. Since they were hemming and hawing and didn't dare make a move, there was no need for him to wait around here. Without a trace of reluctance, he turned and left. This place lay deep in the border outskirts. To return to Jiang City, he still had to pass through a stretch of abandoned wilderness. You can't leave, Wang Ruixin shouted angrily, then immediately began cursing Su Xining, saying, this is what you meant by leaving it to you? You can't get a damn thing done. If this kid runs today, I'll settle the score with you. How could Su Xining have ever taken this kind of anger? Her expression immediately turned cold. Wang Ruixin, don't forget, you still need my help with that dungeon. Wang Ruixin's eyes went wide. The words reached his throat, but he forcibly swallowed them back down. What exactly do you want to do? You go back first. I'll naturally bring the treasure chest to find you. Su Xining wore a confident expression. Even if Li Changqing didn't give it to her proactively, she believed that as long as she asked in person, Li Changqing would definitely offer it with both hands. That's right. Su Xiaowan quickly chimed in. Let's go first. Just leave Li Changqing to Sister Xining. Su Xiaowan pushed the others toward the woods in the distance, where the vehicles they came in were parked. Though Wang Ruixin was dissatisfied, he now more or less confirmed that Li Changqing must be holding some kind of one-time use scroll, a scroll that could instantly kill the final boss. He really didn't dare to act rashly. The group walked off into the distance. After a while, Su Xiaowan ran back again. Su Xining looked at her in confusion. Sister Xining. Su Xiaowan braced her knees and panted a few rough breaths. Running back and forth is quite a burden for a healing-type class. Listen to me. I figure Li Changqing probably cares a lot about the engagement. You should explain it to him properly. What's there for me to explain? Su Xianing snorted disdainfully. Besides, the engagement was arranged by both families' elders. I don't want anything to do with Li Haoyu. Su Xiaowan slapped her thigh. Right, exactly, just tell him that. As long as our sister Xianing softens up a little, wouldn't Li Changqing come rolling right back? After all the students at our Yucai High School. Who doesn't know that Li Changqing is madly in love with our school beauty Su? Isn't he just trying to play hard to get to attract your attention? Then let's go along with him and give him a little sweetness to taste. Su Xiaowan put Su Xianing on a very high pedestal. In her eyes, a family cast off with an E class. A clueless, overconfident, innocent girl. Those two fools should just make a pair. In Su Xiaowan's flattering gaze, a trace of barely noticeable jealousy flashed by. You mean he's playing hard to get? Su Xianing thought it over carefully. Seems like it really is. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? Just as she formed a team with Wang Ruixin and the others to raid the dungeon, Li Changqing appeared in the dungeon. He wasn't just asking around about her and secretly following along. Su Xiaowan was still a little uneasy and lowered her voice to remind her. Sister Xianing, if we want to clear that dungeon and stand out among the several teams, not only are the items in the treasure chest important, the one-time use scroll in Li Changqing's hands is equally crucial. Borrow it from him first, and we can think of a way to make it up to him later. Outside the city, the border wilderness. Abandoned ruins left behind by the invasion of Blue Star by monsters and large-scale wars. Federation military professionals cleared out the outer areas near towns, leaving only low-level monsters for novice professionals to level up and train against. Li Changqing had walked for a while. He could already hear from deep within the surrounding dense forest the occasional battle cries of young professionals and the wails of low-level monsters. Those newly promoted professionals who had come out of the newbie dungeons had already begun leveling up on the border, raising their levels to the limit for the first day, then look for suitable dungeons to raid. Li Changqing had already completed today's dungeon clear, so he planned to go to the exchange first and handle the spoils. Turn the gains into combat power, then head deeper into the borderlands to level up. There is no upper limit to the monster's levels there. As long as you're strong enough, you can level up quickly. Just as he was about to reach the border city gate, hurried footsteps suddenly came from behind. Li Changqing. Li Changqing frowned and turned back impatiently, looking at the cool, aloof girl whose robe somehow gave off the feel of an evening gown. Su Xianing, who had trotted over, had a slight flush on her face and a questioning tone. You don't have anything you want to say to me? No, Li Changqing said calmly. Su Xianing froze. She had never expected that, with no one else around, Li Changqing would still speak to her like this. I know you're still mad. But you should know, I can't decide the engagement. And I will absolutely not marry into the Li family. Before she could finish, Li Changqing cut her off impatiently. If that's what you want to say, I don't have time to waste words with you. Su Xianing frowned, her expression completely turning cold. I've already explained it to you. What more do you want from me? Give me the Goblin General's chest, or don't expect me to pay any more attention to you. She did not ask for the final boss's chest. But after all, the Goblin General was discovered by their team first. She felt that as long as she asked in person, Li Changqing would definitely give it to her. However, Li Changqing didn't even bother to speak and walked toward the border city gate. Li Changqing. Just as Su Xianing was about to catch up, a black-robed figure silently blocked her path. A thick aura of ghostly energy seemed to drag her straight into an ice cellar. Li Changqing's teasing voice rang in her ears. The chest is on it. If you want it, go ask it for it. When had Su Xianing ever seen such a monster? She was so frightened that her whole body trembled. She looked toward Li Changqing with grievance, only to find that the other party hadn't even looked back at all. When had someone as proud and aloof as her ever suffered such humiliation? Playing hard to get? She didn't buy that. It was just showing off with a one-time scroll. Right, a one-time scroll. She was almost so angry she forgot the real matter. After the damp cavern was cleared, the dungeon vortex turned blue. This indicated the dungeon difficulty was hard. Normal, hard, master, nightmare, hell. To prepare for the vocational college entrance exam, the major families of Jiang City jointly bid for the opening rights to a master-tier dungeon. The newly emerged vocational students from the various families entered it together, and the spoils were distributed according to contribution. But they couldn't even clear the hard-tide cavern. And even if the most outstanding younger generation of the major families were added, they might still not be able to clear master difficulty. If she could get the one-time scroll in Li Changqing's hands, not only could it be cleared successfully, she could also take the lion's share of the rewards. Thinking of this, Su Xianing hurried to catch up with Li Changqing again. Before Li Changqing could speak, Su Xining said quickly, I won't hold the chest matter against you. Take it as compensation for how you've treated me all these years. After all, you and I are not from the same world, and it's destined that we can never be together. Li Changqing knew she must have more to say, but he was still amused by these words. Su Xining held out her hand. Give me the one-time scroll. No matter how much money you want, I can give it to you. A one-time scroll? Stop pretending. You're only an E-rank professional. How could you possibly one-shot the final boss of a hard dungeon? Don't think you can fool me. You must still have some in reserve. Otherwise, when facing Wang Ruixin, you couldn't have been so calm and composed. Li Changqing looked at her righteous, self-assured expression, as if his things belonged to her. I don't have any scrolls. If you're talking about something that can one-shot the final boss. Li Changqing pointed at the gibbon not far away. Su Xining glanced back, her face showing disdain. Li Changqing, can you stop making trouble? I admit this summoned beast has some strength, but it's only because ghost-type creatures are strong early on. If you give me the scroll, I can help you buy a batch of medicines you can't get. It suppresses the damage to your body caused by the icy attribute of ghost-type summoned beasts. This scroll is really important to me. Don't do something that harms others and yourself out of momentary anger. In Su Xining's view, Li Changqing was angry because of the engagement. He didn't even think about it. Even if the engagement were still in place, would the two of them actually get married? She, Su Xining, would never marry a loser. Beep. A crisp mechanical sound broke Su Xining's train of thought. This was the prompt tone from the city gate device verifying a federal citizen's identity. Coming to her senses, she hurriedly took out her ID card and placed it on the device. Facial recognition, verification successful. By the time she entered the city, where was Li Changqing's shadow? Li Changqing. Su Xining was instantly so angry that she gritted her teeth and immediately fired off a barrage of messages on her phone. After sending a few messages, she found a red exclamation mark. You dare block me? Li Changqing. You better not regret this. On the other side, Li Changqing had already gotten into a car and gone straight to the inner-city exchange. Before leaving the city, he had already been here once. Bai's Chamber of Commerce. It only handles transactions related to professionals. Equipment, skills, items, and potions, everything is available. Buying and selling, for professionals, is equivalent to a guaranteed middleman. Entering the lavishly decorated hall, people came and went. Soon enough, a server came up to greet him. Sir, may I ask what you need? Please help me make a list of ghost-type summoning skill books that can be learned below LV10, preferably with detailed attribute descriptions. I'll come down later to choose. Please help me look for them first. Okay. The server left in a hurry. Li Changqing took the elevator up to the third floor. The Li family was no longer a place he could go back to, and before the professional college entrance exam, he would need to stay in a hotel. After opening the cheapest room, Li Changqing had only $20 left on him, not even enough to buy takeout. Only Li Changqing knew just how miserable the original owner's life as the eldest son of the Li family had been. Back in the room, Li Changqing sat on the bed and took 2 treasure chests from the mountain ape. One came from the cave bone demon, the final boss of the hard mode newbie dungeon. One came from the goblin general, also a mutated monster. Li Changqing planned to open the final boss chest himself. He would sell the mutated one to the exchange in return for funds for daily expenses and buying skill books. Li Changqing rubbed his hands together and reached out to open the treasure chest. Radiance flashed, and the room was bathed in a dense white glow. Silver light? Looks like I got something good. Bone pendant, accessory. Quality, silver, equipment requirement. Level 5, spirit 30 or above, equipment attribute 1, strength plus 10, agility plus 10. Spirit plus 35, equipment attribute 2, bloodthirst, passive, restores 5% of the wearer's damage dealt as HP, can be triggered by the wearer's summons. Durability, 40/40ths, bone phosphor sword, weapon. Quality, bronze, equipment requirement. Level 7, sharpness, 15, equipment attribute 1, strength plus 28, durability, 125/125. Seeing the equipment attributes, Li Changqing's eyes lit up. Bone phosphor sword is very ordinary, a standard bronze piece of equipment. No additional attributes. Valued between 2,000 and 5,000. The bloodthirst pendant is different. You should know. In the world of professionals, the pricing of equipment items depends on level only in part. The most important factor is the quality of the equipment. For example, black iron and bronze equipment. Even at LV50, LV60, or even second class or third class, Its value will not exceed 5 figures. Low-quality equipment. As long as the level requirement is met, everyone can obtain it through drops from wild monsters. Above silver grade, however, even low-level equipment is far more valuable than you can imagine. High-quality equipment can only be obtained from wild bosses or monster dungeons. Once the attacker's level exceeds the monsters by too much, the drop rate becomes outrageously low, not to mention that dungeons themselves have level entry restrictions. Therefore, the output of high-quality equipment is extremely low, and most of it is very valuable. This bone pendant is even more so. Its bonus attributes are extremely outrageous at the LV5 stage, even surpassing LV7. As for the weapon slot's bone scale sword, more importantly, its lifesteal effect. You should know, reality is not a game. There are indeed potions that restore health, but in a real combat situation, would monsters give you time to drink a potion? And potion cooldown times are extremely long. Potions of the same type share cooldowns. In most cases, you can only drink one potion in a single battle. In that case, the lifesteal attribute becomes extremely crucial, especially for melee-type professionals. He is not a melee class, but his ghost creature is. If he can get a piece of lifesteal equipment early on, then for a short time, there will be no need to consider contracting a healing-type summoned beast. It saves summoned beast slots and greatly boosts frontline combat power. If he remembered correctly, last year, the Buy Merchant Guild auctioned off an LV80 bracelet with a 3% lifesteal effect. It sold for 7 million. The buyer was his father, Li Yong. The bone pendant has a lifesteal effect as high as 5%. If it were put up for auction, it would at least break into 8 figures. After Li Changqing put on the bone pendant, his attribute panel improved slightly. At the same time, part of his spirit attribute was also inherited by the Mountain Imp, Ghost King. A level, LV5, HB, 18400/18400. Mana, 5800/7500 strength, 280 spirit, 1490 agility, 230 endurance, 440 skills, fierce fire art, edict, turn mountain rocks into soldiers, prohibition, soul detainment. Ghost Seed. The Ghost King's status doubles all of the Mountain Imp's attributes. A spirit attribute exceeding 1,000 crushes spellcaster professionals of level 50 or 60. Who would think it was a LV5 summoned beast? At LV5, you can only contract 2 summoned beasts. The Mountain Imp was obviously a spellcaster type ghost creature. For the other ghost creature summon, Li Changqing planned to choose a melee type to deal with melee type bosses with exceptionally strong single target strength. With that in mind, Li Changqing returned to the first floor with the bone scale sword and the Goblin General's treasure chest. The waiter had long been waiting there with a tablet. Take this treasure chest to an alchemist for appraisal first, then give me a quote. Li Changqing handed the chest to the other party. After getting the bone pendant, Li Changqing felt he had already overdrawn his luck. Rather than gambling on luck by opening treasure chests, it was better to sell the chest directly. With the freshman dungeon plus a mutated monster drop, the price would not be too low, enough for him to choose a skill book for the short-lived ghost. After the waiter left, Li Changqing carefully browsed the tablet. The Mountain Imp evolved from an Earthbound Spirit. The Earthbound Spirit was a standard spellcaster type ghost creature, and its evolved forms, the Lone Soul, the Wild Ghost, and now the Mountain Imp, were all spellcaster type ghost creatures. From this, it could be seen that resentment parasitism would not change a ghost creature's type. Flipping to the last page, Li Changqing ultimately chose a D-rank skill book. Ghoul Summon. Its main attribute was strength, and its agility and endurance attributes were by no means low either. Before the skill book had even arrived, Li Changqing had already begun looking forward to what the ghoul would look like after evolving. After waiting about 10 minutes, the waiter came running over and spoke in a more respectful tone than before. "Sir, our young lady invites you upstairs for a discussion." "Miss Bai?" Li Changqing was somewhat surprised. Upon learning that the treasure chest came from the Damp Cave, with the Bai family's methods, it would be easy for them to find out that the Damp Cave was a freshman dungeon that the Black Hawk Guild had been unable to clear. But even if the value of this treasure chest exceeded expectations, Miss Bai could simply raise the offer. There was no need to call him upstairs, right? Lead the way. Li Changqing followed the waiter to the top floor. There was only one room on the top floor. After the waiter knocked lightly, Li Changqing pushed the door open and entered. Inside, bluish smoke curled through the air, and a faint scent of incense drifted into his nose. A young woman in a light purple robe was reclining against the sofa. With her loose robe, graceful figure, plain face, and stunning beauty, She exuded a capable sharpness tinged with aloofness. Where pale skin was faintly exposed, she was plump and jade-like, with undulating curves. Li Changqing suspected that the overly loose, bathrobe-like outfit was meant to conceal that indecently seductive figure. The Bai family's second young lady, Bai Jinan, he had some impression of her. She was an awakened professional of the same generation as him and was quite famous at Yucai High School. Though she had only just turned 18, both her gaze and bearing carried a maturity beyond her peers. Li Changqing, Bai Jinan was visibly stunned for a moment and slowly sat up straight. Was that treasure chest put up by you? Li Changqing nodded noncommittally, sat down on the sofa opposite her, and said bluntly, Miss Bai, you didn't call me over just for the treasure chest, did you? Bai Jinan frowned, blinking from time to time as she looked at Li Changqing in disbelief. As if deep in thought, how could a discarded son of the Li family, who had awakened an E-rank class, produce a treasure chest dropped by a mutant-grade monster? Ghost Tamer. Could it be that Li Changqing had contracted some ghost-type summoned beast with extremely high attributes, disregarding his own lifespan for the sake of current combat power? At that thought, a beautiful curve rose at the corner of Bai Jinan's lips. A short-lived fool willing to risk everything. If his ghost-type summoned beasts are strong enough, then even with just an E-rank class, he could display combat power far beyond that of ordinary professionals. He really is the best candidate at the moment. Let's talk about the treasure chest first. A mutant-grade monster, plus the first clear of a newborn dungeon. By all rights, a treasure chest like this should be put up at Sunday's auction. But I have a use for this chest, and I need to use it before the day after tomorrow, so I'm willing to pay 30% above market price to buy it outright, which is 1.08 million. The day after tomorrow? Li Changqing noticed the signal she had deliberately let slip. Increase the price by 50%. Good items never worry about finding buyers. Right now, a new batch of professionals has just changed classes, and low-level high-tier equipment is in short supply. I can raise the price by 300%. Bai Jinan looked at Li Changqing darkly and said something astonishing. She clearly had conditions. But money was the sort of thing that only needed to be enough. State your conditions first. It's convenient dealing with smart people. Bai Jinan praised him, stood up, and personally poured Li Changqing a cup of fragrant tea. At 9 o'clock the morning after tomorrow, accompany me to clear a dungeon. Meanwhile, in Changqing, at an extremely upscale bar, away from the noise of the main hall, the private room was dimly lit, and several figures sat impatiently on the high-end sofas, apparently waiting for someone. Su Xining pushed open the door to the treasure chest room, her expression as cold as snow. Where's the treasure chest? Wang Ruixin shot to his feet and asked anxiously. Su Xining sat down at the farthest edge, keeping her distance from her teammates, and said indifferently, the market price of a treasure chest dropped by a mutant-grade monster is 500,000. Considering that the damp catacomb is a newborn dungeon, at a premium of 200,000. The other 300,000 counts as compensation for my broken promise. There are 5 of us in total. Excluding my share, I've sent 800,000 to the group chat. You can divide it yourselves? Damn. Wang Ruixin suddenly smashed the wine glass in his hand and interrupted. The hell I wanted was money? Su Xining, you kept saying to leave it to you, and I believed you. And this is the outcome you give me? What I wanted was proof to show my family. Did you really think I cared about a treasure chest dropped by a mutant-grade monster? Wang Ruixin pointed at Su Xining and cursed furiously, while Su Xining merely looked at him coldly. Seeing the atmosphere growing more and more tense, Su Xiaowan quickly tried to smooth things over. What did Li Changqing say? It doesn't make sense. He actually refused to give it to you. I didn't say much. I don't know either. With a blank expression, Su Xining recalled Li Changqing's coldness. What else could he say? Wang Ruixin looked at Su Xining with disdain. When he got back, he immediately investigated the relationship between Li Changqing and Su Xining, stringing him along for 3 years and not even giving him any benefits. That loser stopped licking her boots, didn't he? Su Xining, if you keep a dog, you still have to feed it dog food. Why did I only find out today that you're this stupid? Shut up. Su Xining's face instantly turned livid. Say one more word. If you want to clear Misty Miasma Forest, then go find another teammate. Su Xiaowan hurriedly sat down beside Su Xining. Sister Xining, what are you talking about? We're a team. There's no such thing as suddenly finding a teammate. Brother Wang, calm down too. Didn't Sister Xining go there in person? It's all that guy Li Changqing's fault for not knowing what's good for him. Wang Ruixin narrowed his eyes and glanced at Su Xining. An S-rank Holy Light Mage. There are no more than 10 S-rank classes awakened in Changqing this year. If Su Xining stops working, it really wouldn't be easy to find someone on short notice. In front of the instance, misty miasma forest, the treasure chest is ultimately just a trivial matter. Since Su Xiaowan is shifting the blame onto Li Changqing, he might as well go along with the flow. And snorted coldly. A loser with an E-rank class, who knows where he got that one-time use scroll from. Even if you give him a treasure chest, he still can't escape the fate of a short-lived ghost. The two lackeys also rushed to chime in. Holding a one-time use scroll, do you really think you're still the top genius from Qingshu High School back then? Selfish, wasteful. If I awakened an E-rank class, I'd definitely hand over all the items and treasure chests to an S-rank professional like Brother Wang. The few of them vented all their resentment on Li Changqing. Su Xining didn't join them. She did look down on Li Changqing, but she also disdained belittling others to elevate herself. Then, Sister Xining, did Li Changqing hand the scroll over to you? Su Xiaowan asked softly. No, forget it. Don't talk about that loser anymore. Wang Ruixin waved his hand irritably. The main reason I came today was to discuss the instant strategy for the day after tomorrow with you all. Changqing, I'll transfer 1 million to you later. You don't need to go into misty miasma forest. My Wang family has found an S-rank hunter as external support from Nanqing. Wang Ruixin didn't care at all about his lackey's expressions. He glanced at Su Xining and continued. And you? I remember the Su family spent a huge sum in Sanyu Main City to buy an S-rank class card. It should be for your younger brother, right? Can you get him to join the team? No, he'll join forces with the Li family and form a 10-man team. Su Xining shook her head. The Su and Li families are allied through marriage. They've long since formed an alliance. She joined Wang Ruixin's team in secret just to resist the marriage alliance. But I can bring in Gu Jinyao from Yucai High School, an S-rank swordswoman. Okay, Minji, you're the same as Changqing. Go get 1 million from the Wang family and give up your slot in the strategy instance. Okay, Brother Wang. The two of them didn't dare object. Their families were well off. But they couldn't compare with a hegemon like the Wang family of Jiangqing. They just awakened an A-rank class and were temporarily brought into the team because Wang Ruixin took a liking to them. Wang Ruixin's expression was grave. The Bai family mainly focuses on commerce, and Bai Jinan is their only S-rank professional. For the sake of one instance, they're also not going to spend a fortune buying an S-rank class card. The Bai family is nothing to worry about. The key is the Li family, the 4 major families of Jiangqing. The Bai family does business. The Su family is in politics, with alchemy as a support. The mayor of Changqing is the Su family patriarch. The Wang and Li families mainly focus on founding guilds and pioneering instances, and the professionals under them are very powerful. At the same time, the Li family also controls Jiangqing's potion business, faintly holding the position of the foremost among the 4 great families.